Here's what's new on CBS2.com.
Tonight, it's Senator John McCain's turn to address the convention and the nation as he accepts the Republican nomination for President of the United States.
Campaign 08, the Republican National Convention. From St. Paul, Minnesota, here is Katie Couric.
And good evening, everyone. This night has been a long time coming for Senator John McCain. It's been 9 years since he announced his first run for the Republican presidential nomination. Tonight, he will claim the prize. Overnight, the stage here was extended out into the convention floor so the senator will be closer to the delegates. The idea is to give it the feel of a town meeting, which is his favorite speaking venue. Senator McCain has a very tough act to follow, but he wouldn't want it any other way. His running mate, Sarah Palin, did very well here last night. The question is, how will this ticket play beyond its GOP base? And what will John McCain need to do tonight to attract those coveted crossover voters, independents, and disaffected Democrats? Bob Schieffer is up at the podium tonight covering his 21st convention. And no, Bob was not there when Lincoln was nominated, not the first time anyway. Hi, Bob.
How are you, Teddy?
The poll in the polls, Barack Obama and John McCain are now neck and neck. Barack Obama has lost his post-convention bounce, but the McCain campaign doesn't take a lot of comfort in that. They know they have a very tough fight ahead, don't they?
This campaign is going to be decided between now and November, Katie. Neither of these candidates has been able to break away. But let's think a little bit about this incredible journey of John McCain. Here is someone who his own party was not really comfortable with for years. A year ago, this campaign was flat broke. It had run right off the track. John McCain's chances were thought to be dead, and yet tonight he comes to this convention hall to accept his party's nomination, and with the pick of Sarah Palin last week as his running mate, he is now the darling of the right side of the Republican Party, which was the most uncomfortable with him in the past. How did he get from there to here? And tonight he'll tell us where we go from here.
And Bob, as we wait for an 8.5-minute biographical video, let's go to our senior political correspondent, Jeff Greenfield, and former political speechwriter. He's out on the convention floor. And Jeff, you and I were talking earlier about the fact that none of the featured speakers here during this convention has uttered the name President George W. Bush. Now, I'm told by a McCain operative that Senator McCain will mention President Bush and thank him for the fact that the nation has been secure since 9/11, but then he really is going to detach himself from the traditional Republican brand. And you think this whole thing is quite remarkable, don't you?
To pick up on what Bob said, this is a candidate who several years ago toured with the idea of leaving his party, joined with Democrats on issues from campaign finance reform to immigration to taxes. He was against the tax cuts, alienated much of the right of his party. His campaign was left for dead a year ago. And to pick up on your point, Katie, his chances for the presidency depend on his convincing the American people that he will not continue the policies of the Bush administration in a convention 80% of whose delegates like the president. It's one of the most unlikely nominations I can think of or even remember, even if I don't go back quite as far as Bob Schieffer, Casey.
Now, Dan Bartlett was until last year a counselor to President Bush. He's now a CBS News consultant. Dan, any surprises tonight, you think?
Well, we never know with John McCain. He shocked the political world last Friday, so you can't rule that out. But more importantly, Katie, I think he has to build on the momentum that we've seen developing over the course of the week, and he's going to do that by really focusing on reform.
Right.
He feels he can trump change with reform.
The lights have gone out. Let's watch this biography.
A soldier, naval aviator, POW, a father, son, a husband. They once called him congressman, and now call him senator. Some call him hot-headed. Some call him names that can't be repeated. But of all the names so many have called John McCain in his years of service to America, truly, at his core, John McCain is a
mama's boy.
four-star warrior for a grandfather who stood on the USS Missouri and watched the Japanese surrender, went home from war the next day, and died. A four-star father, commander of the Pacific at the time his son was a prisoner of war in Vietnam. His father would take a single guard and drive to the border between North and South Vietnam. He'd stand for hours, gazing north. It was as close as he could get to his son, who was imprisoned in downtown Hanoi, the city he'd just ordered to be carpet bombed. It was a love for America above all else for the McCains.
Our military family is like all military families. It's kind of a case of make-do. We're all in it together. A Navy family, in my view, is wonderful.
John McCain's remarkable role in America's history began before Vietnam. He was on the first ship to enter Cuban waters during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and again on the USS Forrestal, where, strapped into the cockpit awaiting his turn for takeoff, a missile accidentally fired from a nearby F-4 Phantom and hit a fuel tank. The fire burned for 13 hours. 134 men lost their lives. John McCain's life was somehow spared. Perhaps he had more to do. A year later came Hanoi. Critically injured and with wounds never properly addressed, for the next 5.5 years, John was tortured and dragged from one filthy prison to another. Violently ill, often in solitary confinement, he survived by the faith he learned from his father and grandfather. A faith that there is more to life than self.
In his book, Faith of My Fathers, John wrote, "In prison, I fell in love with my country. I had loved her before, but like most young people, my affection was little more than a simple appreciation for the comforts and privileges most Americans enjoyed and took for granted. It wasn't until I had lost America for a time that I realized how much I loved her."
When the North Vietnamese realized who his father was, they offered John early release as a PR ploy. He said no. He'd honor first in, first out, like everyone else. And so, he chose to spend 4 more years in hell. 5.5 years later, the war was over, and McCain was set free. The constant torture and isolation could have produced a bitter, broken man. Instead, he came back to America with a smile, with joy and optimism. He chose to spend his life serving the country he loved, first in the United States House of Representatives.
Where else in the history of the United States of America have you had a person over time with the experience that he has?
It says much about the man that Senator McCain led the efforts to normalize relations with Vietnam. 5.5 years in their hell, and he chose to go back because it was healing for America. That's country first. He staked out a name for himself as a common-sense conservative, pro-life, smaller government, a faith in the American people's ability to chart their own course, committed to protect the American people, a ferocious opponent of pork barrel spending, and would do most anything to keep taxes low, keep our money in our pockets. John McCain abhors waste. Outspoken, brash, but honest, honorable, and razor-sharp effective. He's not in it for the glory, not to please any political party. John McCain has seen too much to think petty. His is a larger cause, a faithful, unyielding love for America. Country first. He was one of but a handful in Washington who said long ago that we would never reach a true success in Iraq unless we provided the manpower and material to get the job done right. And today, our nation stands thankful for that warning, as our troops are now able to provide the kind of security in Iraq that will lead to peace in that country, a more stable Middle East, and greater security for our families here at home. No one cherishes the American dream more. Father of 7, his children represent an all-American panorama, stretching from an airline pilot to a son in the Navy, a son in the Marines, to his youngest daughter, a teenager now, who became a McCain after his wife Cindy discovered her as a baby in one of Mother Teresa's orphanages in Bangladesh. What a life. What a faith. What a family. What good fortune that America will choose this leader at precisely this time. The stars are aligned. Change will come. The change must be safety, prosperity, optimism, and peace. The change will come from strength, from a man who found his strength in a tiny, dank cell, thousands of miles from home.
He will renew America. He loves our country. Country will always be first with my son, John McCain.
When you've lived in a box, you fear no man, you know no shame. You've known hate, you've known elation. You've longed, you've dreamed, you've reached, and you've forgiven. When you've lived in a box, the world becomes clear. No time for petty, no time for wrong, just time for right. Each moment sharply aware, each step part of a journey. When you've lived in a box, your life is about keeping others from having to endure that box. You shout, you push, you lead. You left long ago the shallow of self and put your people first, your country first. John McCain.
So now this former Navy pilot whose life story revolves so much around his military service comes out to a newly energized Republican base. The whole stage, as we mentioned earlier, has been reconfigured. It was done overnight. He is literally the man in the arena, like his hero Teddy Roosevelt, who he would like to emulate, another maverick reformer who took on entrenched interests. And as we listen to the applause, Jeff Greenfield, he still has a gap with Barack Obama when it comes to understanding the problems of the average American. He's going to have to tackle that tonight, is he not?
Absolutely. I think one of the keys to this speech is a connection with people who are not at the top, who are in the middle, and he has to convince them not only that he understands what they're going through, but that he has specific ideas to make those people's lives better. It's a key challenge, Katie.
Dan Bartlett, do you think we'll see or hear any new policy proposals announced tonight?
Well, I do think it's going to be important for John McCain to have a forward-looking agenda. Somebody who comes from a generation once removed from leadership today. It's going to be important that he can give confidence to the American people that he can be the one to take them in the future. And that's going to require being very specific about how he'll go about doing that. Katie?
And Bob, he's going to have to appeal, as we mentioned earlier, to those crossover voters, disaffected Democrats, independents, because there are a lot more Democrats in this country than Republicans right now.
I'm sorry, Katie. It is just overwhelming down here. We can't hear a thing.
I understand where the crowd is going wild, obviously. What I was saying, Bob, and we'll stop when the applause dies down, is he has to reach out to these crossover voters because there's so many more Democrats than Republicans right now.
I'm sorry.
Okay, don't worry. We'll talk about it after the speech.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Tonight, I have a privilege given few Americans. The privilege of accepting our party's nomination for President of the United States. Their privilege. Thank you. And I accept it with accept it with gratitude, humility, and confidence. In my life, no success has come without a good fight. And this nomination wasn't any different. That's a tribute to the candidates who opposed me and their supporters. They're leaders of great ability who love our country and wish to lead it to better days. Their support is an honor that I won't forget. I'm grateful to the President of the United States for leading us in these dark days, following the worst attack on American history. Attack on American soil in our history and keeping us safe from another attack that many thought was inevitable. And to the First Lady, First Lady Laura Bush, a model of grace and kindness in public and in private. And I'm grateful to the 41st President and his bride of 63 years for their outstanding example of honorable service to our country. As always, I'm indebted to my wife, Cindy, and my 7 children. You know, the pleasures of family life can seem like a brief holiday from the crowded calendar of our nation's business, but I have treasured them all the more and can't imagine a life without the happiness that you've given me. You know, Cindy said a lot of nice things about me tonight, but in truth, she's more my inspiration than I am hers. Her concern for those less blessed than we are, victims of landmines, children born in poverty with birth defects, show the measure of her humanity. And I know that she will make a great First Lady. When I was growing up, my father was often at sea, and the job of raising my brother, sister, and me would fall to my mother alone. Roberta McCain gave us her love of life, her deep interest in the world, her strength, and her belief that we're all meant to use our opportunities to make ourselves useful to our country. I wouldn't be here tonight but for the strength of her character. And she doesn't want me to say this, but she's 96 years young. My heartfelt thanks to all of you who helped me win this nomination and stood by me when the odds were long. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. I won't let you down. To Americans who have yet to decide who to vote for, thank you for your consideration and the opportunity to win your trust. I intend to earn it. And finally, a word to Senator Obama and his supporters. We'll go at it. We'll go at it over the next 2 months. You know, that's the nature of this business. And there are big differences between us, but you have my respect and my admiration. Despite our differences, much more unites us than divides us. We are fellow Americans, and that's an association that means more to me than any other. We're dedicated to the proposition that all people are created equal and endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights. No country ever had a greater cause than that. And I wouldn't be an American worthy of the name if I didn't honor Senator Obama and his supporters for their achievement. But let there be no doubt, my friends, we're going to win this election. And after we've won, we're going to reach out our hand to any willing patriot. Make this government start working for you again and get this country back on the road to prosperity and peace. I know these are tough times for many of you. You're worried about Please, my friends, my dear friends, please don't be diverted by the ground noise and the static. Talk about it some more. But Americans want us to stop yelling at each other, okay? These are tough times for many of you. You're worried about keeping your job or finding a new one. And you're struggling to put food on the table and stay in your home. All you've ever asked of your government is to stand on your side and not in your way, and that's what I intend to do. Stand on your side and fight for your future. And I've found just the right partner to help me shake up Washington, D.C., Governor Sarah. Governor Sarah Palin of the great state of Alaska. And I want to thank everyone here and all over America for the tremendous, wonderful, warm reception you gave her last night. Thank you so much. She deserved it. What a great beginning. You know, she has an executive experience and a real record of accomplishment. She's tackled tough problems like energy independence and corruption. She's balanced a budget, cut taxes, and she's taken on the special interest. She's reached across the aisle and asked Republicans, Democrats, and independents to serve in her administration. She's the wonderful mother of 5 children. She's helped run a small business. She's worked with her hands and knows what it's like to worry about mortgage payments and health care and the cost of gasoline and groceries. She knows where she comes from, and she knows who she works for. She stands up for what's right, and she doesn't let anyone tell her to sit down. I'm very proud to have introduced our next vice president to the country, but I can't wait until I introduce her to Washington. Let me just offer an advance warning to the old, big spending, do nothing, me first, country second crowd. Change is coming. I'm not in the habit of breaking my promises to my country, and neither is Governor Palin. And when we tell you we're going to change Washington and stop leaving our country's problems for some unluckier generation to fix, you can count on it. And we've got a record of doing just that, and the strength, experience, judgment, and backbone to keep our word to you. You well know I've been called a maverick, someone who marches to the beat of his own drum. Sometimes it's meant as a compliment, and sometimes it's not. What it really means is I understand who I work for. I don't work for a party. I don't work for a special interest. I don't work for myself. I work for you. I fought corruption, and it didn't matter if the culprits were Democrats or Republicans. They violated their public trust, and they had to be held accountable. I fought the big spenders. I fought the big spenders in both parties who waste your money on things you neither need nor want. And the first big spending pork barrel earmark bill that comes across my desk, I will veto it. I will make them famous, and you will know their names. You will know their names. We're not going to allow that while you struggle to buy groceries, fill your gas tank, and make your mortgage payment. I've fought to get million-dollar checks out of our elections. I've fought lobbyists who stole from Indian tribes. I've fought crooked deals in the Pentagon. I fought tobacco companies and trial lawyers, drug companies, and union bosses. I fought for the right strategy and more troops in Iraq when it wasn't the popular thing to do. And when the pundits said my campaign was finished, I said I'd rather lose an election than see my country lose a war. And thanks to the leadership of a brilliant General David Petraeus and the brave men and women he has the honor to command, that strategy succeeded, and it rescued us from a defeat that would have demoralized our military, risked a wider war, and threatened the security of all Americans. I don't mind a good fight. For reasons known only to God, I've had quite a few tough ones in my life, but I learned an important lesson along the way. In the end, it matters less that you can fight. What you fight for is the real test. I fight for Americans. I fight for you. I fight for Bill and Sue Neby from Farmington Hills, Michigan, who lost their real estate investments in the bad housing market. Bill got a temporary job after he was out of work for 7 months. Sue works 3 jobs to help pay the bills. I fight for Jake and Tony Wimmer of Franklin County, Pennsylvania. Jake works on a loading dock, coaches Little League, and raises money for the mentally and physically disabled. Tony is a school teacher working toward her master's degree. They have 2 sons. The youngest, Luke, has been diagnosed with autism. Their lives should matter to the people they elect to office, and they matter to me, and they matter to you. I fight for the family of Matthew Stanley of Wolfboro, New Hampshire. Matthew died serving our country in Iraq. I wear his bracelet and think of him every day. I intend to honor their sacrifice by making sure the country their son loved so well and never returned to remains safe from its enemies. I'd fight to restore the pride and principles of our party. We were elected to change Washington, and we let Washington change us. We lost the trust of the American people when some Republicans gave in to the temptations of corruption. We lost their trust when, rather than reform government, both parties made it bigger. We lost their trust when, instead of freeing ourselves from a dangerous dependence on foreign oil, both parties and Senator Obama passed another corporate welfare bill for oil companies. We lost their trust when we valued our power over our principles. We're going to change that. We're going to recover the people's trust by standing up again to the values Americans admire. The party of Lincoln, Roosevelt, and Reagan is going to get back to basics. In this country, we believe everyone has something to contribute and deserves the opportunity to reach their God-given potential. From the boy whose descendants arrived on the Mayflower to the Latina daughter of migrant workers, we're all God's children, and we're all Americans. We believe in low taxes, spending discipline, and open markets. We believe in rewarding hard work and risk takers and letting people keep the fruits of their labor. We believe in a strong defense, work, faith, service, a culture of life. Personal responsibility, the rule of law, and judges who dispense justice impartially and don't legislate from the bench. We believe in the values of families, neighborhoods, and communities. We believe in a government that unleashes the creativity and initiative of Americans. Government that doesn't make your choices for you, but works to make sure you have more choices to make for yourself. I will keep taxes low and cut them where I can. My opponent will raise them. I will open new markets to our goods and services. My opponent will close them. I will cut government spending. He will increase it. My tax cuts will create jobs. His tax increases will eliminate them. My health care plan will make it easier for more Americans to find and keep good health care insurance. His plan will force small businesses to cut jobs, reduce wages, and force families into a government-run health care system where a bureaucrat stands between you and your doctor. We all know that keeping taxes low helps small businesses grow and create new jobs. Cutting the second highest business tax rate in the world will help American companies compete and keep jobs from going overseas. Doubling the child tax exemption from $3,500 to $7,000 will improve the lives of millions of American families. Reducing government spending and getting rid of failed programs will let you keep more of your own money to save, spend, and invest as you see fit. Opening new markets and preparing workers to compete in the world economy is essential to our future prosperity. I know some of you have been left behind in the changing economy, and it often seems that your government hasn't even noticed. Government assistance for the unemployed workers was designed for the economy of the 1950s. That's going to change on my watch. Now, my opponent promises to bring back old jobs by wishing away the global economy. We're going to help workers who've lost a job that won't come back find a new one that won't go away. We will prepare them for the jobs of today. We will use our community colleges to help train people for new opportunities in their communities. For workers in industries that have been hard hit, we'll help make up part of the difference in wages between their old job and a temporary lower paid one while they receive retraining that will help them find secure new employment at a decent wage. Education is the civil rights issue of this century. Equal access to public education has been gained, but what is the value of access to a failing school? We need to shake up failed school bureaucracies with competition, empower parents with choice. Let's remove barriers to qualified instructors, attract and reward good teachers, and help bad teachers find another line of work. When a public school fails to meet its obligations to students, parents deserve a choice in the education of their children, and I intend to give it to them. Some may choose a better public school. Some may choose a private one. Many will choose a charter school. But they will have the choice, and their children will have that opportunity. Senator Obama wants our schools to answer to unions and entrenched bureaucrats. I want schools to answer to parents and students. And when I'm president, they will. My fellow Americans, when I'm president, we're going to embark on the most ambitious national project in decades. We're going to stop sending $700 billion a year to countries that don't like us very much, and some of that money We'll attack the problem on every front. We'll produce more energy at home. We will drill new wells offshore, and we'll drill them now. We'll drill them now. My friends, we'll build more nuclear power plants. We'll develop clean coal technology. We'll increase the use of wind, tide, solar, and natural gas. We'll encourage the development and use of flex fuel, hybrid, and electric automobiles. Senator Obama thinks we can achieve energy independence without more drilling and without more nuclear power. But Americans know better than that. We must use all resources and develop all technologies necessary to rescue our economy from the damage caused by rising oil prices and restore the health of our planet. My friends, it's an ambitious plan, but Americans are ambitious by nature, and we've faced greater challenges. It's time for us to show the world again how Americans lead. This great natural cause will create millions of new jobs, many in industries that will be the engine of our future prosperity. Jobs that will be there when your children enter the workforce. Today, the prospect of a better world remains within our reach. But we must see the threats to peace and liberty in our time clearly and face them as Americans before us did, with confidence, wisdom, and resolve. We have dealt a serious blow to Al-Qaeda in recent years, but they're not defeated, and they'll strike us again if they can. Iran remains the chief state sponsor of terrorism and is on the path to acquiring nuclear weapons. Russia's leaders, rich with oil wealth and corrupt with power, have rejected democratic ideals and the obligations of a responsible power. They invaded a small democratic neighbor to gain more control over the world's oil supply, intimidate other neighbors, and further their ambitions of reassembling the Russian Empire. And the brave people of Georgia need our solidarity and our prayers. As president, I'll work to establish good relations with Russia so that we need not fear a return to the Cold War. But we can't turn a blind eye to aggression and international lawlessness that threatens the peace and stability of the world and the security of the American people. We face many dangerous threats in this dangerous world, but I'm not afraid of them. I'm prepared for them. I know how the military works, what it can do better, and what it shouldn't do. I know how the world works. I know the good and evil in it. I know how to work with leaders who share our dreams of a freer, safer, and more prosperous world, and how to stand up to those who don't. I know how to secure the peace. My friends, when I was 5 years old, a car pulled up in front of our house, a Navy officer rolled down the window and shouted at my father that the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor. I rarely saw my father again for 4 years. My grandfather came home from that same war, exhausted from the burdens he had borne, and died the next day. In Vietnam, where I formed the closest friendships of my life, some of those friends never came home with me. I hate war. It's terrible beyond imagination. I'm running for president to keep the country I love safe and prevent other families from risking their loved ones in war as my family has. I will draw on all my experience with the world and its leaders and all the tools at our disposal, diplomatic, economic, military, and the power of our ideals to build the foundations for a stable and enduring peace. In America, we change things that need to be changed. Each generation makes its contribution to our greatness. The work that is ours to do is plainly before us. We don't need to search for it. We need to change the way government does almost everything, from the way we protect our security, to the way we compete in the world economy, from the way we respond to disasters, to the way we fuel our transportation network, from the way we train our workers to the way we educate our children. All these functions of government were designed before the rise of the global economy, the information technology revolution, and the end of the Cold War. We have to catch up to history, and we have to change the way we do business in Washington. The constant partisan rancor that stops us from solving these problems isn't a cause, it's a symptom. It's what happens when people go to Washington to work for themselves and not for you. Again and again, I've worked with members of both parties to fix problems that need to be fixed. That's how I will govern as president. I will reach out my hand to anyone to help me get this country moving again. My friends, I have that record and the scars to prove it. Senator Obama does not. Instead of rejecting good ideas because we didn't think of them first, let's use the best ideas from both sides. Instead of fighting over who gets the credit, let's try sharing it. This amazing country can do anything we put our minds to. I'll ask Democrats and independents to serve with me, and my administration will set a new standard for transparency and accountability. We're going to finally start getting things done for the people who are counting on us, and I won't care who gets the credit. My friends, I've been an imperfect servant of my country for many years, but I've been her servant first, last, and always. And I've never lived a day, in good times or bad, that I didn't thank God for the privilege. ago, something unusual happened to me that taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. I was blessed by misfortune. I mean that sincerely. I was blessed because I served in the company of heroes, and I witnessed 1,000 acts of courage and compassion and love. On an October morning in the Gulf of Tonkin, I prepared for my 23rd mission over North Vietnam. I hadn't any worry I wouldn't come back safe and sound. I thought I was tougher than anyone. I was pretty independent then, too. I liked to bend a few rules and pick a few fights for the fun of it. But I did it for my own pleasure, my own pride. I didn't think there was a cause that was more important than me. Then I found myself falling toward the middle of a small lake in the city of Hanoi with 2 broken arms, a broken leg, and an angry crowd waiting to greet me. I was dumped in a dark cell and left to die. I didn't feel so tough anymore. When they discovered my father was an admiral, they took me to a hospital. They couldn't set my bones properly, so they just slapped a cast on me. And when I didn't get better, and was down to about 100 pounds, they put me in a cell with 2 other Americans. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even feed myself. They did it for me. I was beginning to learn the limits of my selfish independence. Those men saved my life. I was in solitary confinement when my captors offered to release me. I knew why. If I went home, they would use it as propaganda to demoralize my fellow prisoners. Our code said we could only go home in the order of our capture, and there were men who had been shot down long before me. I thought about it, though. I wasn't in great shape, and I missed everything about America, but I turned it down. A lot of prisoners had it much worse. A lot of prisoners had it a lot worse than I did. I'd been mistreated before, but not as badly as many others. I always liked to strut a little after I'd been roughed up to show the other guys I was tough enough to take it. But after I turned down their offer, they worked me over harder than they ever had before, for a long time, and they broke me. When they brought me back to my cell, I was hurt and ashamed, and I didn't know how I could face my fellow prisoners. The good man in the cell next door to me, my friend Bob Craner, saved me. Through taps on a wall, he told me I'd fought as hard as I could. No man can always stand alone. And then he told me to get back up and fight again for my country and for the men I had the honor to serve with, because every day they fought for me. I fell in love with my country when I was a prisoner in someone else's. I loved it, not just for the many comforts of life here. I loved it for its decency, for its faith, and the wisdom, justice, and goodness of its people. I loved it because it was not just a place, but an idea, a cause worth fighting for. I was never the same again. I wasn't my own man anymore. I was my country's. I'm not running for president because I think I'm blessed with such personal greatness that history has anointed me to save our country in its hour of need. My country saved me. My country saved me, and I cannot forget it. And I will fight for her as long as I draw breath, so help me God. Friends, if you find faults with our country, make it a better one. If you're disappointed with the mistakes of government, join its ranks and work to correct them. Enlist in our armed forces, become a teacher, enter the ministry, run for public office, feed a hungry child, teach an illiterate adult to read, comfort the afflicted, defend the rights of the oppressed. Our country will be the better, and you will be the happier, because nothing brings greater happiness in life than to serve a cause greater than yourself. I'm going to fight for my cause every day as your president. I'm going to fight to make sure every American has every reason to thank God as I thank him, that I'm an American, a proud citizen of the greatest country on earth. And with hard work, strong faith, and a little courage, great things are always within our reach. Fight with me. Fight with me. Fight for what's right for our country. Fight for the ideals and character of a free people. Fight for our children's future. Fight for justice and opportunity for all. Stand up to defend our country from its enemies. Stand up for each other, for beautiful, blessed, bountiful America. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up and fight. Nothing is inevitable here. We're Americans, and we never give up. We never quit. We never hide from history. We make history. Thank you, and God bless you, and God bless America.
So this four-term senator who's been a member of Congress for almost 26 years tonight tries to establish himself as a Washington outsider, a change agent, tries to seize the change moniker and make it his own, of course, change being the trademark of the Obama campaign. He's warning that the old big spending, do nothing, me first, country second, Washington crowd, change is not a coming, but change is coming. I'm here with Bob Schieffer and Jeff Greenfield. You know, he really tried to separate himself from all politicians. It was almost a throw the bums out speech, with the bums being Democrats and Republicans.
I thought that was what was very interesting about it, and I think that's the thing that'll really play, Katie. People are tired of government that just simply can't seem to confront any major issue head on. They want change. They don't know how it's going to get done, but they're tired of the way it's happening now. And I think if he can convince people that he really can form a unity government, that he really can get Washington to sort of working again, I think he has a good chance to win this election.
And in fact, polls show that undecided voters care most about getting something done and holding government accountable, right, Jeff?
Yes, and everybody says they're going to do it, and it was clear in the constant repetition of the word fight, I think 10 times in the last couple of minutes, that the 72-year-old candidate says, I'm not too old. I have to say, I found much of this speech surprisingly familiar. It was a speech that almost any Republican could give, except for the part about change. And based on the reactions I've got from a few of my colleagues, left, right, and center, I have to be honest with you and say they felt the speech was a bit underwhelming. They were expecting a bold policy proposal. They were expecting a more frontal challenge. And I think we're going to see when the reviews are in that this speech, other than the instant bump in the polls that everybody gets, may not have changed a lot of minds.
I simply do not agree. I think, Jeff, that misses the point. With John McCain, it's not about the rhetoric. It's about John McCain, the man, and what he stands for. I thought this was a fine speech tonight that appeals to our better angels, really. I found it much more inclusive than the speech that Sarah Palin made yesterday. I think this speech will play very well across America.
Only time will tell, Katie.
Yeah. Dan and Joe, I hate to make you once again serve as referees, but I'm interested in your perspective. Dan, there were no new domestic policy proposals. A lot of talk about John McCain's 5.5 years, where he got quite emotional as a prisoner of war. Do you think he accomplished what he set out to do, making Americans feel he understands their struggles, talking about the economy?
I think that this is the type of John McCain that he could only accomplish this kind of speech and feel comfortable with it. To my memory, this is the first time he's ever spoken in such detail about his experience as a captive POW. He's going to use these differences, this stark contrast, not only in policy, but just as importantly in style, to say, there's the flash with Barack Obama, but what you're going to get is a very reliable, sturdy, and predictable man in the Oval Office. I think that was his central message, and I think it came through.
And Joe Trippi, he did take the high road. He did make some contrast between him and Barack Obama, but for the most part, it wasn't all that critical, was it?
No, Katie, but what I watched when we watched the video and listened to him talk about what he had gone through, I realized that this campaign was sort of been eclipsed by the Clinton-Obama battle. Hadn't really been able to get its story out, to get his story out. A lot of Americans really saw it and heard it for the first time tonight. We who are in the battle, like I was on the Democratic side, so it was lose sight that when he won this primary nomination for himself very early, that a lot of Americans had some sense of that he was a war hero, but didn't fully understand his story and where he's going to take the country. I think that was a big, big night for him to get that story out like he did tonight.
And right now, as you can see, amidst all the confetti, the red, white, and blue confetti, and the balloon drop that's just taken place, John McCain, his 96-year-old mother, Roberta, who really is remarkable, and the entire McCain and Palin families have taken the stage. We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back from the Republican National Convention in less than a minute.
Well, it might surprise a lot of people that ExxonMobil would be interested in lithium-ion battery technology applied to hybrid electric vehicles. Our new battery separator film is a true breakthrough that's going to enable the deployment of more hybrid vehicles faster. This means a tremendous reduction in greenhouse gases, the equivalent of removing millions of cars from the road. I think this is the most important project that I've worked on in my career.
And we're back at the Republican National Convention here in St. Paul, Minnesota. 4 rollicking days, actually 3, one cut short by Hurricane Gustav, and I'm here with Bob Schieffer and Jeff Greenfield, Joe Trippi and Dan Bartlett out on the floor. You know, we were talking about how Sarah Palin has galvanized the base, but has her selection also galvanized the Obama campaign? They raised $10 million today, which is a one-day record.
Well, yes.
In a word.
I think both statements are true. But I'll tell you something else. The Obama people know they're in for a fight now, because I think you're going to find that the Republicans are more unified than I frankly thought they would be coming out this election. You know what, Katie? We have a great election campaign, a great campaign coming up here, and we have two very good choices.
On that, Mr. Schieffer and I are in total agreement. This is going to be utterly unlike the last two campaigns. And if you think you know what's going to happen, you just haven't been following the last 8 months.
A whole new twist now with the addition of Sarah Palin. Jeff Greenfield, Bob Schieffer. Bob, thank you. And I know John McCain will be your guest this Sunday on Face the Nation. So the 2008 conventions are now history. I'm Katie Couric in St. Paul. I'll be right back on the web.
Dave's All New with Robin Williams, Shannon Doherty, and a convention wrap-up tonight.
Monday at 5 and 6, a story of survival. Her ex-husband shoots her, then kidnaps their son. See how a local woman got her boy back and how she's recovering from the bullet that shattered her life. The exclusive story, Monday at 5 and 6 on CBS 2 News.
It's time to get ready for fall during the Shop Till You Drive clearance event at your Dodge, Chrysler, and Jeep dealers. We're taking up to 40% off MSRP on 08 Rams to make room for new arrivals. Get great markdowns in every department, like up to 22% off MSRP on our fashionable minivans. And check out our great selection of fuel-efficient vehicles. Find your perfect fit at the Shop Till You Drive clearance event. Hurry, these offers won't last.
It's Mervyn's Buy One, Get One Free event. Buy any one item and mix and match throughout the store to get your second item of equal or lesser value from any department absolutely free. Mervyn's Buy One, Get One Free event. Friday through Saturday only.
Here's what's new on CBS2.com. Meet the new castaways of Survivor Gabon.
You're in the middle of this huge jungle. It's really, really scary.
Survivor Gabon in high definition premieres CBS Thursday, September 25th.
Previously on Big Brother. With the house against him, Jerry proved he wouldn't go down without a fight.
Congratulations, Jerry. You have won the head of household. There you go, honey.
And he set his sights on Dan.
My goal of this HOH was to try and get Dan out.
But Renegades Dan and Memphis came up with a plan to save their alliance.
Isn't it worth trying to make the deal to get through the week?
It's our only hope, dude. For the Renegades to survive this week, me and Dan can't be on the block against each other. One of us on the block is okay, both of us is disaster.
Memphis made a deal with his longtime enemy.
What I'm looking for is to stay off the block, and we decide who goes home.
I would like to make an agreement with you to go to the final two.
Dude, I think we really have a chance in this.
Well, that's what we have to try.
And at the nomination ceremony, Jerry went after his target.
I have nominated you, Dan, and you, Keisha.
But Rennie began to worry that she could be in trouble.
If Memphis took off Dan, they'd vote me out. They wouldn't vote you out.
That's the only way that can happen.
Even though Keisha and Dan are on the block, I don't feel safe at all. Maybe I am getting paranoid, but I don't think so.
At the veto competition, Memphis kept the Renegades' hopes alive.
Memphis, you have won the power of veto.
And Jerry continued to urge Memphis to take out Dan.
Dan, he's a hell of a competitor in this thing.
Yeah.
You can't trust him.
But at the veto meeting, the Renegades lived to fight another day.
I have decided to use the power of veto on Dan.
Since only one of you remains that's eligible, Rennie, I have to nominate you.
Who will be evicted from the Big Brother house, Keisha or Rennie? And who will become the new head of household? Find out tonight, live on Big Brother 10.
and welcome to Big Brother 10. It's day 59, and the Alliance of Four thought it would be smooth sailing this week. But Jerry, the former Marine from Texas, wasn't about to surrender. After shocking his housemates by winning HOH, he quickly targeted Dan. But the Renegades, Dan and Memphis, had a plan of their own: win the power of veto and save Dan. And that's exactly what they did. Now, Rennie, the beauty salon owner from New Orleans, sits on the block alongside her best friend, Keisha, the waitress from Los Angeles. Tonight, one of them will leave the Big Brother house. But first, betrayed once again, Jerry seeks retribution, hoping to turn friend against friend.
I have decided to use the power of veto on Dan.
Since only one of you remains that's eligible, Rennie, I have to nominate you.
With that, this veto meeting is now adjourned.
The veto meeting sucked today for me. Memphis can kiss my ass. He wanted to split up Keisha and I. I'm on a block with a friend. I mean, I'm not going to campaign against Keisha.
The person that I care about most in this house is the one sitting beside me on the block. So either way, it's a lose-lose situation. I do not want to lose Rennie, but I don't want to leave the house.
I don't think I can trust anybody any more than I do Dan. The Renegade Alliance is still alive. Me and Dan have a deal to the end.
Memphis screwed me over at the POV meeting. He told me that he would work with me to let Dan go out of the house, and he broke his word. And the beat goes on. Betrayal in this game should not just go unpunished. I feel like I stand alone in the house again.
Kid survives one more week.
Memphis came through with flying colors, put the necklace around my neck for my birthday, and it's the happiest I've ever been in this house. This week, the Renegades control the votes. We decide who stays and who goes.
That was a lot harder than I thought it would be. You know what I mean? I mean, not hard to do, but just like, you know, it's just, you still feel bad. But what can you do, man? What can you do? Somebody's got to go, you know?
Keep on rolling, man.
I know.
You gotta keep this thing going. Start winning some more.
I don't know what Jerry's gonna flip out on me, probably.
At what?
Taking you off.
Why?
Dude, he wanted you gone, dude. But I think it's his plan up.
Oh, I think so too.
If you get a chance, come talk to me.
Okay. Well, come on. I'll come upstairs with you now.
I couldn't believe you didn't get rid of Dan. My only point is it indicated where loyalties lie by what happened, you know.
Yep.
It's obvious that he wanted to keep Dan in the game, so it's obvious they're playing to the end. I mean, there's no, I mean, you can't.
Yeah, I mean, I know he wants Dan in the game. I mean, yeah, I mean, there's no way you can.
Right to the end.
Yeah, you can't go around that.
Yeah, I just want you to stay in the game. The whole point is, I'm your shot at a half man. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think you have what you think's over there. I don't.
I don't know what I have, you know.
If we don't break them up, I don't see a chance. You know, it's that simple. And it'll give you a tremendous advantage to you. Now, I think you're going to find that Memphis has an agreement with everybody. And he evidently does.
Memphis tells me that he's going to take me to the end. But Jerry has my mind working big time right now.
All right, baby. Give me a hug. I have no, we're together somehow, whether we like it or not.
I know.
I wouldn't say anything to anybody though, because it would only.
Almost.
Thanks, baby.
My mind's just thinking.
I guess it is.
Just spinning.
I think so. Listen, he's not going to take Dan off the block for nothing. He could have taken you. He took him off for a good reason. Plus, I don't know, maybe he said he'd take you. I don't know. Might have said it to both. Who knows? He's very shrewd. So is Dan.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think Memphis is keeping you around for? He thinks he can beat you if he goes to the final with you. You know that.
Oh, sure.
The whole point is I'm your shot at $500,000. I want some support that you're going to get me to the final three.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this, if one of the girls get there at the end, they're going to win it. You know that? The only person that hadn't betrayed me in this whole house was Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting him on the block for that reason. He betrayed me the other day when he took you off.
Mm-hmm.
I have no one that hasn't betrayed you. You're no different than them. They no different than you with me now.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Then don't be worried about how I feel about you anymore, do you?
Has Jerry come to you at all?
Of course. What do you think? Has he come to you?
Yeah. He's trying to stir up.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, I need someone to take me to the final three.
Me too.
Yeah. He's
Me
like,
too. I feel like.
What do you got?
Give me a heart attack. We're talking about how Jerry's approached both of us.
I know, sweetie.
Has he approached you? He says you have deals with everybody in the house.
Yeah. Well, you know that's not true, and you know that's not true, so here we go. As long as he doesn't want POV.
I know.
You like that. Now what?
We gotta be careful with her.
Jerry told Keisha that I had a deal with everybody in the house. If Keisha believes Jerry, it's a bad thing for me and Dan.
Cheers.
Cheers. You know what? When I leave here, I'll be a different woman. I don't know if you know that. I will be. I'll be the same Rennie, but things in my life will change.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I've already thought that. I think that I was very, I was immature before. I mean, a little bit, naive. It's made me really...
You have to think about life.
It's made me really respect different things in life.
Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, and this is very sincere. I want you to be a mother. Be a beautiful mother. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
My relationship with Rennie has been amazing. I have never met anyone like her before. I can't imagine being in this house without her.
I'll never forget you, doll. Remember that. When I met you, I knew we had something. It's good. We brought one another along, didn't we? And we got this far, didn't we? Special, isn't it? But it was sincere. I'll never forget you. Keisha's a very special young woman that I come to admire and respect for being my friend, and then probably remain friends for a long time to come. I'll always love you, Keisha Marie.
Coming up, Memphis came into the game a self-proclaimed hustler from Hollywood. But has the Big Brother house changed him? And later, the live vote and eviction. Who will be leaving tonight, Rennie or Keisha? Stay with us.
It's Macy's One-Day Sale Saturday with a preview Friday. Get the lowest prices of the season. This diamond and sapphire bracelet, $59.99. Buy 2 bras, get 2 free. Dress shirts, just $14.99. And men's chinos are just $14.99. Get the lowest prices of the season at Macy's One-Day Sale Saturday with a preview Friday. That's the magic of Macy's.
Did anything unusual happen during my procedure?
He kicked the bucket.
You died. I died.
A little bit.
Bought the farm.
How long?
7 minutes.
A bit less.
And bit the dust.
Let's calm down.
Why is he calming down?
And that
You got a sec?
was just the beginning.
What are you seeing?
Ghosts. Is this a bad time? If I see one more zombie, zombies feed on human flesh. That's offensive.
Ghost Town.
Come back soon.
What a terrible thing to say in a hospital.
Rated PG-13.
Back to school. Here we go again. In addition to my job, I'm back to being a drill sergeant, a chauffeur, a personal shopper,
Back to school stress can weaken your body's defenses. So drink Dan Active. Only Dan Active has L-casein immunitas cultures and is clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defenses.
So I can do the job I like best, be a mom.
Get ready for back to school now.
Mommy, I can't sleep. My comforter's too clean.
Introducing Samsung's largest washer for even comforter-sized loads. It could take some